Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to see you all and to be here. So the first poem I'm going to read is called Cling Film. And when I first became a part-time wheelchair user, before I was paralysed later, I just couldn't believe the amount of intrusions I was experiencing every day, and these ableist intrusions that divorce you from your reality. I mean, it's very hard to feel completely connected in your community. So this poem's about the idea of having the world wrapped in cling film where you can't quite access it due to just everyday ableism that's so subtle. Sometimes you doubt yourself whether or not it's even there. Cling film. Does she? Ableism. The act of wrapping the world in cling film. Ableism is the steel band around my wrist with my name and a number. For when you find me unconscious, you know to take me seriously. Take a stand. Ableism is the government telling me to stay at home so that if COVID takes my breath, you won't have to watch. Does she? Ableism is the interviewer who reassures, we don't see your disability. Take a stand. Does she? Ableism is the chairless corridors that command me to wait at home, quietly. Take a stand. Or the dog shit that you didn't pick up, that I am forced to wheel through, and it stains my wings. Or the absent ramps that stop me taking off from the pavement and soaring up above Cardiff. Take a stand. Or the job that doesn't want part-timers. Take a stand. Or the surgeon's letters carved on my belly that you can't read. Or the train I can't take because I look too healthy for that chair. Or the rusting car I'm not allowed to drive. Does she? Or the I'm sorry's scattered in rubber shavings. Ableism is the mate who says, your illness doesn't bother me. Or that you look well on days I hang my wings at home. Does she? Or the glass on the tarmac that erases my tread. Does she? Or the activism that fights for all. Take a stand. Ableism is the face that asks, how do you dance? But doesn't think to look up to the sky. Does she? Or the film you wrapped me in as I move with palms open to the clouds, whilst yours are bound to the ground. Take a stand. Ableism is the race you'll want me to run one day to prove how far I've come, or the poems you'll demand. Ableism is the cling film you've wrapped around everything. Everything. I reach for your hand, but I can't feel your skin. Just a cling film, and it's hard to tear. So I'm now a full-time wheelchair user and paraplegic, and nothing had prepared me for how often I'm approached with well-intentioned strangers who offer me cures. So this poem is a collage of cures, and I have received pretty much all of these as potential cures. So it's called Pin a Tail on the Donkey. Are you sure you can't feel your legs? What about here or here? Have you tried yoga? Black seed paste? Prayer? Can't you even wiggle your toes? Do you eat gluten? Do you believe in God? Veganism? Pilates? Hiding your pain? Acupuncture? Paleo diets? Picturing yourself standing? Do you take iron and B12? As too many supplements may cause paralysis. Have you tried napping? You're just young, you grow out of it. Have you tried counselling? Sea swimming? Increasing your salt? Bog snorkeling? Positivity, not being stressed. Do you keep a gratitude journal? Drink water, electrolytes, climb trees with your eyes. Have you tried loose leaf tea, meditation, digital detox, stroking a cat, not letting on, counting the stars, cutting out caffeine, holding your breath? May I pray for you? Have you Googled cures? Do you get stoned, manifest movement? Do you crawl, drag, hope, so your body remembers to move without wheels? Can you get off the floor unaided? Kneel on all floors? Can you swim without sinking whilst dragging your legs? Have you tried cold water, warm water, putting your feet in streams? Doesn't the donkey require a tail? Do you study photos of you hiking? Watch how other people's legs move so you don't forget? Do you speak to your muscles? Move your legs with your hands so they remember? Have you tried hospitals in other countries? Getting pregnant? Have you cast spells in puddles? Do you even want to be fixed? Thank you. That was a very powerful manifesto. I'm so proud to be disabled and to be part of our community, and hearing brilliant work such as the work shared tonight makes me even prouder. And I also follow the social model of disability. So the idea, for those not familiar with it, that I'm not disabled by my paralysis or my other health conditions or by my wheelchair, but by the barriers that we introduce in society, that are all removable. They don't need to exist, but also by people's assumptions. And sometimes that's non-disabled people's assumptions, and sometimes it's disabled people's assumptions, which I explore in the poem I'm about to share. So I love swimming, and nothing brings me more joy in life than aggressively overtaking triangular-shaped non-disabled guys in the swimming pool. But as a result, I've now been banned from the disability-friendly swimming lane. Thank you. So that's what this poem's about. It's called Enough. The lady in the lane taps me on my foot, but my foot feels nothing. I'm floating on my back like a goose coming in to land too fast, while rolling upside down in the air to slow her flight. The light crackling through the water is a white net, clutching my skin like nerves sending signals I can feel. The lady tugs my ankle, but my ankle and I aren't on speaking terms. My legs are tied together at the knees to stop paralysed limbs floating off, like sea otters, clinging together so they don't separate in their sleep. The lady in the lane says this space is only for disabled people. I swim away, each arm reaching until she can reach no further. My legs bobbing behind me like goslings. I send waves over the lane ropes as I turn my head side to gasp for breath. At the wall, I place my palms flat on the side, push my weight through my shoulders, reclaim my skin and bone from the body of water, lifting myself into my watchful wheelchair. The lady from the lane approaches me on poolside to apologise. She informs me she's chair of the disability group, and I am disabled enough. Diolch. So this is a poem in which I'm a transnational drug smuggler. So many of the poems tonight have covered how it feels to live with an invisible impairment, whether or not, or a visible condition, whether or not that's pain or grief or something else. But having a degree of invisibility can be a benefit sometimes. I know as a wheelchair user, I feel I can get away with pretty much anything, hence this poem. This was the Guardian Poem of the Week last week, and the comment section was absolutely hilarious because the comments fell into three camps. Firstly, I had a lot of comments saying, "Don't poems need to rhyme?" I said, "No," and they said, "Well, that's convenient for you." There were a lot of positive as well, but these were funnier. The second camp was, yeah, but are you actually a wheelchair user or is it just for the drug smuggling? And then the third camp was, what is in your pressure cushion that you're sat on? So, yes, poem in which I'm a transnational drug smuggler. The guy in front of me is told to remove his leg. He unscrews it and places it in the tub with his luggage. We watch as his leg disappears through the rubber curtains, as he hops through the airport scanner. His stump is swabbed alongside another guy's empty boot, a tube of toothpaste, and a wallet. I'm asked to wheel past the metal detector and to park myself where the other travellers await their bags. A female guard cups my arms, my waist, my breasts, and she asks me to raise myself above the cushion, squeezing her hand into the gap between my skin and chair. Below, my £500 pressure cushion protects my skin. Bags of Coke stashed where the jowl should hold my form. Each bum cheek is perfectly imprinted in bleach powder. Later, when the taxi driver asks whether my wheelchair is to support my benefits claim, I'll smirk and nod. Deal. So when you're disabled, I think especially as a wheelchair user, there's an assumption that your biggest desire in life would be to walk again or to be cured. And actually, I think the ability to walk is probably bottom of my bucket list. But this is called If I Could Walk Tomorrow, If There Was a Miracle or Something. I'd hug my parents. Standing hugs are sea-rounded pebbles in the palm. My cat would have to learn to walk. No more lap rolling room to room. I'd go home, up the 6 steps to my front door. I'd enter through the front door and leave and enter again. I'd shower at home. No more showers at leisure centres. I'd grab an iced oat milk coffee and sip it as I strolled around the block. I'd enter a building through the main entrance with other people. I'd say, hello, lovely weather to strangers. No dodging, what's wrong with you? I'd look up as I move rather than down at the lifting tarmac cracks and curbs. I'd get off a train. I wouldn't be left on the train. I'd see faces, not crotches at meetings. No more counting Chelsea boots and brogues. I'd visit friends, climb the steps to their doors, see them in their homes. No more strangers prodding my skin. Enough of being a doctor's pincushion. I'd say a fuck you to the physio. Enough of colour-coded resistance and good effort. I'd piss against a tree like a man in hiking boots. I'd bury my feet in the sand, feeling sand grains and skin knocking against each other. I wouldn't dance. I'd pirouette faster on wheels than I ever could on toes. And no, I wouldn't run a fucking marathon. So my main work is campaigning for better access to nature for everyone, but especially for disabled people, because using the social model of disability, most of the barriers that we experience to accessing nature, and especially accessing the countryside, are removable. It's not the mountains or the beaches that exclude us. It will be like a lack of beach wheelchair or a lack of paths that could be accessible. So I do a lot of campaigning around that, and as part of that, I write for Country Living. And they made this into a poetry film if anyone's interested. But when I say that I campaign for better access to nature, I think some non-disabled people sometimes recoil with fear, thinking I'm advocating for tarmac in all our beauty spots. So I'm not advocating for all beauty spots to be tarmacked. The town is just the pattering of raindrops on the storm drain as the water runs down the southern slope of Sugarloaf's car park, seeking exits in the sandstone. Bracken crackles louder than the cars below. The uncounted blades of grass rush past, competing in their daily chores. The gorse is ablaze with hubris. The leaves on the slumped trees are folding and opening, like fingers clenching and unfurling. The fog. The fog clings to the hills like children held afloat in the sea by their parents. The paths up the hillside are trodden, not carved. Feet have stamped away the heather and bilberries. I sit in my van with the door open. The wind pours at my skin, summoning me to follow the footfall up the hips of the hill. My wheelchair, waiting in the back, is not welcomed by scuffed paths. I watch the raven wheeling in the hush of the valley. I murmur to the wind, enough, I'm here. I'm going to read two more poems before we finish. So the first one is about the very specific type of joy that you find after trauma or grief. And for me, this joy has been much more intense than it ever was in my previous life before experiencing a lot of loss. I don't think we have the language yet to talk about how grief and joy usually can coexist. So that's what this poem's about. You cannot slice warm bread. She'll trawl through charity shops for shed skins, emerge with elasticated waistbands she can tug over atrophied legs. Red and fierce, she'll roll onto the high street, all sharp edges and 110 psi. She'll pick up pinpoint stilettos, gold, glittery, still in their box, too impractical to wear to that wedding. The kind that don't give to your foot. She'll wear them to Lidl. Every door will become a millimetre wider as she passes through, splinters bouncing off her push rims. Each muscle spasm will be a thunderclap. At the theatre, her paralysed leg will kick the head in front. She will tell the woman it's the wind, or perhaps the ghost of the woman who wore the shoes before. The ends of her hair will be snappable, so caked in mud where they rest on her wheels, whilst her shoes shine like streetlights on their footplate. She'll plant sweet peas in her wellies, their stems more ambitious with each cut. Some days she'll think she's weak when pushing against cracked tarmac, but her tyres will just lack air. She'll place neon pink straws on her spokes so her body is not a shadow. She'll do pull-ups from her chair, gold shoes suspended in flight, lifting her joy like a dumbbell. Her grief will fade to the hum of a damp finger, tracing the rim of a glass. Entering the beer garden, a glass of Pinot resting between her thighs. A man will hold the door open, but will not step back. She'll leave her tread across his white trainers like a slap. People will ask if she's a student or here for work experience. She'll smile. So this is not her first life. And this last poem I'm going to read is about returning to the beach, which was one of the first places I really wanted to return to as a new wheelchair user. So I learnt to surf from about the age of 8. It's always been a massive part of my life. Thanks. I surfed at Rest Bay in Porthcawl. So this poem is about returning there and the sense of defiance and joy and how rebellious it feels to return to a place that's not really designed for you and where people don't expect you to move. Hiya, Butt Bay. Casters to the sky, face to the sea. I'm sitting on my back wheels, leaning against my friend on Rest Bay Beach as we sink into the wet sand. Her weight wills us closer to the waves, driving us forwards like she's back in a scrum, gripping my handles, her feet digging as I clasp my push rims. We wheel over a sandcastle, sink into its moat. The turret's flag flies from my spokes, crushed walls in my tread. Dog walkers and families stare as we giggle, my wheels submerged to the axle. A man approaches us, clears his throat, informs my friend that when he takes his mother-in-law out, he finds it's best to drag her backwards. I give him my piss off mate, we're doing fine thanks look. Then we try it anyway, slowly turning our backs to the sea, admire our tyre marks stretching their limbs. We see the children pretending to be a train as they jog down our tracks, and we're pushing quicker towards the water, sand surrendering. I used to chase footprints that obscured my own, moved within another's trace. Now I survey my trenches with delight. You could read them from a drone. You wouldn't guess their footprints. 2 unsteady lines claiming the land. Deal. Thank you.